This is a wake-up call to all of my millennial friends, family, subscribers, and anyone listening. Since my generation has been alive, I'm a millennial by the way, we've experienced nothing but good times, other than the economic downturn in the early 90s, which we're too young to remember in any meaningful way, and then the 2008 financial crisis, which most companies rebounded from relatively quickly due to the money supply injected into the economy. That injection of liquidity in 2008 ultimately led to some of the most prosperous times in our history for the following 13 years. The number of millionaires and billionaires exploded. People were making money all over the place. The stock market, real estate, online businesses soared. Things were good. So, although you can argue that there was that blip in 2008, it's safe to say the millennial generation has experienced far greater good times than bad times. As millennials, we started our real-life working careers in and around 2008 and after. So our working lives began in this period of abundance and easy money. All we've ever known in our careers are good times and very little to no adversity. It's been easy to find work, and frankly, even people who aren't the best at business or investing were making money. Fast forward to today, the end of 2022. We are sailing through uncharted waters. What's happening in our economy hasn't been seen before, certainly not in our generation. From a decade of near zero interest rates where money and capital was in abundance, to now record increases in interest rates, inflation, and deterioration of our money that we haven't experienced in our lifetime, and a looming recession to top it off. All of these things happening at the same time, in combination with geopolitical events happening around the world, is causing a lot of companies and consumers to tighten their belts. In the last few months, several of the most prominent companies in the world have laid off hundreds of thousands of employees, and more companies are following suit. And this is not only happening in the public sector, but smaller private companies are doing layoffs and hiring freezes, several of which I know personally. So, where to go from here? I think there's a shift happening in the global economy. I think a lot of people out there are going to get blindsided and be unprepared. I think more people should be living with the feeling of your back is against the wall. We've all heard how important it is to invest in yourself. Well, now's the time to take that advice seriously and put it into practice. Companies are seriously leaning out in ways we haven't seen before. There's been a great deal of unproductive workers filling the labor force, and companies were able to get away with it because of this economic upside we've been on. There is a cleansing happening right now in our economy, which is washing away this unnecessary waste and spending, and companies are being forced to work more efficiently and lean out. If you're employed, assume your job is on the line. You have to hone in on your craft, upgrade your skills, and learn new skills to increase the value you provide to your employer. Because if not, companies right now are looking line by line on their expense and employee list and cutting costs that aren't generating returns. So really think about that. You got to act like your livelihood is on the line and your back is against the wall. This easy train and days of handouts are over. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you're running a business, you have to do the same. You have to elevate your skills and increase the value you provide to your clients, because just like employers are going line by line to cut unnecessary expenses, consumers are doing the same thing. They're going through their credit card statement and cutting unnecessary expenses of their own. So if you're a business owner, you also need to act like your livelihood is on the line and figure out ways to provide even more value to your customers, or your product or service could be an expense item that gets cut. I actually think what's happening is a much needed cleansing for the economy as a whole. It's going to bring us back to first principles and sound money. And in the long run, I think this is a positive for the economy, since consumers will be looking for more value, which means producers and providers will be forced to step up the level of value they offer. So theoretically, this should lead to a net positive for society as a whole and a better way of life in general. As I said, we're all swimming through uncharted territory. No one knows what's going to happen, including myself. No one has the crystal ball. The fact is, we're all trying to figure this out and assess the possible outcomes based on the information that's in front of us. There are a lot of topics that I brushed over, but I'm going to post some material and resources to help with your own research. Now is the time to educate yourself and have an understanding of what's going on around you. As I said at the beginning, I do believe many people will be left blindsided, so my hope is to reach as many people with this message and help nudge them in a direction that could lead to positive outcomes. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing to my channel or sharing this to someone you think would find valuable.